Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Frankie B, and there's nothing wrong with the screen. I'm actually going to be trying something a little bit different. Let me just close it up and then I'll put it back again. This is black sketch pad, black paper, and I don't know. It's been sort of nagging at me that I've seen a couple of artists do it where they've been doing these really cool like illustrations on black paper, and I used to play around with it, but then I stopped, and so now I'm kind of I got a little respite between my before I jump back onto issue 3 of Kaijus and Cowboys, and so I was like, you know what, let me just catch up on some stuff and just play around and get myself more energized so that when I eventually delve back into working on Kaijus and Cowboys issue 3, boom, I'll be like on fire. You know what I mean? So anyway, I sat there and thought about it, and I ended up picking up a ton of gel pens. I'm gonna go with gel pens with this. The reason why I ended up picking gel pens was not because of the black paper. Surprisingly, it was because I was working on some sketch cards, and I ran out of my fluorescent pens that I had. They were clogging up and whatever, and usually I use my fluorescent pens when I want to do like effects in the eyes or energy beams or energy and stuff like that. They just look really cool. Like when someone gets their sketch card and it's fully colored and everything, it just looks really nice on it. Just pops out. Sometimes you can't really catch it. Like if I try to scan it, scanners just don't catch it. Sometimes you can see it. You can see it more so, I think, when you're videotaping it, because then it's like real time. I've tried to take pictures of it while using my iPhone, but it still looks a little wonky. So I think the best time you can really see it is when you literally have it in your hand, or like when you're seeing it just like this, like I'm videotaping right now. So I've come to the decision where you people have seen so much of me drawing other people's IPs, and I love it. I love drawing other IPs from other companies and stuff like that. Transformers, Godzilla, King Kong, the list goes on. But here's the thing, I am a creator. I'm a co-creator of Kaijus and Cowboys, and one of the things about it is that we have this is a fledgling IP. It's an IP that needs love. So one of the things is that I need to start showing more of that love for these characters, because we're going to be dropping, it looks like it's possibly going to be early summer possibly, when it's gonna, I think it's gonna hit the previews magazine, and I know some people have asked me and stuff, and here's the rules. It's like we are signed with a publisher, Second Sight Publishing. Second Sight Publishing is a traditional indie publisher who's going through Diamond Distribution and other distribution chains. So most likely our book will be available in the previews magazine, previews catalog, and then LCSs will be able to pick them up once they go out or order them. And then if we get copies or whatever, then we can have stuff so that we can, if we do some shows or whatever, we can do at shows and stuff like that. So yes, we're going that's the path that we're going right now. I think that the decision is that if we get enough issues underneath our belt, and then if we start doing like graphic novels, then maybe crowdfunding will probably enter the picture again. But again, it's so tough to say right now. It's really hard because we're still in production. We have done a contract for 12 issues pretty much, and I've just completed just 2, so we still got 10 issues. And the thing about it is that, yeah, it's nice to kind of have a sense of foreshadow when you want to be like, oh yeah, I got all this stuff planned, but it doesn't work that way. The reality is that you don't have nothing if you don't have a product. You can sit there all day and dream all the biggest dreams. You can say, yeah, I'm gonna do this and that. You can tell people this, and I see a lot of people doing that. I remember one of my mentors, wealthy guy too, real estate guy. I remember he once told me, he said, Frank, he said, you know what? He said, a lot of stuff is about bells and whistles. He said bells and whistles is a fantastic tool, because what it does is that it's a capability of somebody to use a technique of selling something when nothing exists. Not yet, but you sell the idea of what it's going to be. You go, yeah, dude, this is going to be the greatest thing. So better than, sliced bread, cheese and apple pie and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's the spill. You put it out there and you sell it, and people buy into it. They buy into the spill of it. But then the reality comes in. The reality comes in that eventually people are going to say, well, where's the product? And so the thing is that either you're going to have that product available when people want it, because this is the thing about consumers. as much as consumers can be forgiven, can forgive for a certain level, in most cases, consumers want their stuff like now, as soon as possible. That's just, I'm a consumer. The people, if you're watching this, you're a consumer, and most likely you're going to want something pretty much now or at a reasonable time. If somebody says it's going to be done in 2 weeks, you're going to want it in 2 weeks. If they say it's going to be done in 30 days, you're going to want it in 30 days. You do not want to be sitting on something that's going to be 6 months to a year to 2 years. It's not fair. It's not fair to the consumer. And it just shows that, that maybe possibly you just don't have that level of discipline to be able to get the product out at a reasonable time. So yeah, the gift of doing bells and whistles is a phenomenal gift, and it does work. But to me, it works when you actually have something, like when we did our campaign this past summer for the Zero issue. And I want people to understand it. The Zero issue is actually something was only exclusive for the Kickstarter campaign and does not have anything to do with the story, the actual series that's going to be coming out. So it's like almost apples and oranges. So just so people can understand that. But when we did that, I'd already done the work for those pages like months and months in advance. So we already had stuff already set. We just, once the campaign came, it was just like, okay, we get the campaign, get people, and then boom, we can get the stuff out. That's what we're looking at. We love that kind of format because what happens is, first off, it shows that we're approaching this very serious, and that we truly want people to. I know I should be probably drawing while I'm talking, but we want people to be able to feel that we're reliable, and that we're just not some individuals just trying to, whatever. I don't want to give names to whatever. But, but again, we just want to be able to come off on a good note with people. So anyway, I'm going to be doing some images of B.W.N.N. That's what I'm using that as the pronunciation of his name. And that's an acronym for the bot with no name. B.W.N.N, the hunter bot. And so, yeah, I was really fascinated with doing I was fascinated with working on black paper. I just found it to be really interesting. So I was like, hey, Frank, I think it's always good to kind of test yourself, You should always put yourself, through the test to see, how different things are and see what you come up with. So I'm going here with a simple Papermate. And I'm sorry I was jabbing so much and you guys are just staring at the black paper. I should have been drawing. Oh, I told you, I'm just like, I'm an artist, and I'm not somebody who's, when I talk to you, I'm on the real. This is like if we were literally sitting at a coffee shop and gabbing it out, this is me. This is pretty much Frankie B. I'll just be yapping and yapping and yapping, having a good old time. So anyway, I'm gonna start doing a lot more stuff, because it's a good character. Every time I keep drawing, like when I worked on issue 2, I'm loving this character. I really am. He's fun. I think for me, the thing about B.W.N.N is that he represents that kind of trope that I enjoyed as a child, watching some of those early manga shows and stuff, and even characters who weren't like gigantic size, like there was Cyborg 009 and their team, that whole storyline and their team, and they were like these humanoid cyborgs that were fighting against robots. I mean, even look at Astro Boy, and so he probably falls in that trope where he's much smaller than a kaiju, but he's cool. He can handle it. I was thinking, like, I've been sort of going through my head because another thing is that I'm a huge fan of the Marvel handbook, and because when the Marvel handbook came out, it really established this kind of thing of the characters and what their capabilities were and stuff like that. And I was sitting there, I've been sort of thinking about, like, eventually people ask me about B.W.N.N and they go, well, you know, how strong is he or whatever. And I haven't really thought about it, broke it down. I mean, I have some loose thoughts, but my feeling is that he's built strong enough to battle a giant kaiju, you know. So if I was thinking some standpoints, he's probably like, I sort of mirror him to like Machine Man when Jack Kirby was doing it. I was a little saddened by what they did to Machine Man once Kirby wasn't on it. First off, they depowered him. I think that was when oh man, the Spider-Man artist, the guy who did was it Steve Ditko? I think Steve Ditko worked on some of those. But during that time, they really depowered him, man. They took away a lot. What I felt made him really cool, they just got rid of that. You know, like he could do all kind of cool stuff. But I would say that he can pretty much take a hit, you know. His body can take some serious damage. And that's one of the things. I think if anyone who backed the campaign, you can kind of, we gave a little bit of that in those where we were trying to express that he can you know, it would take a lot. Like if his body really broke apart or whatever, then it's almost like he can, you know, he can definitely come back. All right, so this is my first time. I'm breaking these open. I'm just seeing how these are and just see what happens. Right. This looks almost, it's weird. It's almost like a glitter. It's kind of interesting. I like that. Oh, you know what? I should have went with the green. See what you guys are catching? You're catching something right on the right while I'm doing this. Let's see if I can, how the blending is. I'm gonna try the blending in this. That's one thing I always love. These are pretty glitterly. Glitterly. My God, me creating words. Jess would love that one. Frank, you just created a new word. Glittery. This is me glitterly creating something. Look at that. It's kind of nice. It's fun. So I didn't know what to you know, because the brand that I use for my fluorescent pens, honestly, they're like these fluorescent pens that I found like at God, I can't even remember where I got them. I bought a ton of them, but they were like no name kind of brands, and I just used them. And I was like, oh, these are pretty cool. So these are, you know, I don't know, these are very glittery. I would say that. So that can be kind of fun from working on cards. All right, let's see. All right. But you guys can see that. I hope it's being picked up good. I mean, I try to get all my lights sort of going, but. And what I'm doing, I'm just trying to get this color force right in there, you know? Yeah, it feels so good just to, when you wrap something up. As I said before, it's like when working in production, when I get on a project, my mindset shifts and I get really like professional about it, you know? Because I wanted to succeed. When I worked in advertising, it was a team effort, you know. Like I want to win. I have that part of me where I'm a person who I am competitive, and I just want to succeed. I want everyone that I'm working with to succeed. I want everyone to feel excited and, you know, joy and all that good stuff. To feel like, yeah, we did something really good. I don't want to walk into something or be part of something and then you have this feeling where, oh, you know, I didn't give 100%. I don't feel like I gave 100%. I hate that feeling. I tell you that right now. I do not like that feeling. You know, I just don't. And luckily I can say that I haven't felt any of that for a very long time. I think I felt that when I was more younger. But I've worked on some really cool projects and they really came together really nice. All right, this one's kind of, yeah, this is all kind of glittery too. I wonder, should I try to break out my other pens? The ones that my old school ones. Because I have some other ones too. and just see how they compare to these guys. But it's kind of cool. This is such a different form of artwork. I've always been someone who's you know, curiosity chaser. You know, see something and I go, hey, I gotta try that. Let me see how that looks. And yeah, I got a ton of these black paper things, so I definitely want to do some cool stuff with it. It almost reminds me of when I used to paint. I know, it's like I have a painting. I have a painting that I did for the. It was for a campaign. I got hired by an agency. It was a small agency. Remember, I think they were on Newbury Street at the time in Boston, and they had hired me to do some artwork for this. It was a gala. I think it was a gala event for the Stoneham and the Franklin Park Zoo. And it was the Sierra. It was something called the Sierra, the animals of the Sierra, or something like that. And yeah, and I painted that. And I remember my nerves were like, I was shy. I'm gonna step away so I can get my other fluorescent pens. I'll just keep yapping it up. You guys can hear me. But yeah, so I have that hanging up. That's one of the rare Frankie D's items that I have. My painted work. So yeah, I'll show you guys. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. I think that's it. See, these were very limiting though when I got these. So it's really, it's weird purple. I don't think I had an orange. I think those are orange, right? Orange. I'm coming more colorblind. No, I think that should be it. All right. So all right, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. These are the other ones. These are the ones I got, and they're like no names. Like, well, hold on a second. Oh, wait a second. I didn't see that. Promar jelly. Oh, wow. Duh. I should have looked for these. I like these. I should have looked for more colors. Oh, man. Did all that. And end up getting these. Oh, well. So let's see how these are. I'm going to see how these are kind of tough, though. Like the flow, like they're, like, look at this. I'm like trying to cut right into, I'm cutting right into that paint right there with this. And I don't like that. You know, I don't like having to dig so deep in there. But yeah, there you go. I'm getting the flow now. See, look at that. A little bit. But yeah, you gotta fight into it. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. All right, so let's see what we got. I'm gonna pull out some red. So yeah, B.W.N.N, he one thing that we have established, me and Matthew have talked about, is his capability of adapting himself, and that he's always upgrading himself. So that's another thing too. But yeah, he's really grown. I'm really enjoying this character. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying this character, because it's more than just. The thing is, I think that once people start reading it, and hopefully they get a sense, it's more than just, you know, cowboys, that kind of cowboy kind of thing. If you're walking into it and you're going, oh yeah, but cowboy stuff and guns, and yeah, like, no. It's not that. It's more. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on, a lot more pieces and stuff happening. And I'm hoping that people can sort of get on that and check that out and enjoy it. All right, I can tell you right now, it's really tough because of the glare of the glitter. I like the glitter, but then I don't like the glitter. Oh boy. All right, so I did that really dark. It's all about experimenting. See, this is still dark too. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can get the light one. I'm gonna see if I can dig in there, and I'm gonna use my gel pen to maybe help brighten this up. Yeah, so I'm gonna, maybe I'll go around the corona like it's, there you go. One thing about it was when I was designing the character, I was like, I thought about putting highlights in his eyes, but then I was like, I kind of like the idea of just being flat. Something about it seems much more. It almost reminds me of when you see the Terminator, like when T-800 was T-800, and they should have closed by his face and his eyes sort of moved. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. You know, it was just the coldness of it, analyzing, looking, trying to find his prey. So there's a lot. You know, I totally admit that that what we're doing is an homage to so much before. I love the fact that me and Matthew are like two different people who have different views on fandom, but I think that we both remember comics and definitely love comics during the 70s and 80s. I think that's what kind of brings us together. Like there's an appreciation for that stuff, you know. And I think that what happens is kind of funny because after I sent issue 2 in, then all of a sudden, you know, he sent me an email. He's like, oh my God, I got to switch things up and change. I love that though, because that's what I do. When I'm drawing, I always feel like it's the artist's job. It's almost like we're constantly adding layers or something. You know what I mean? Like pieces. So it's like he starts it off and he'll write the story. He'll have a story script. Then I look at the script and, you know, after looking at it, then I'll start working on my thumbnails. And then my thumbnails, you know, I'll add things on it or whatever and such, and he'll look at it and be like, okay, that's cool. So there's a constant building up on stuff. So until finally we have something that we can both look at and go, man, that's amazing. You know, that's incredible. All right, I'm pulling out all these pens. This is, you know what, I'm having a good time here. I hope you guys are having a great time. It's very different. This is very different for me, and I'm just glad that you're taking the time to check it out. All right. Well, it's kind of wild. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a speed thing on this. I don't think. I think I'm just gonna Nah, I'm not gonna do a speed thing on this. I think I'm just gonna have fun. Just gonna have fun and talk to you, and we'll see how far this goes. You know, if you guys enjoy it, then that's cool. I will say it makes it really tough with the lights. I got my light right here. I'm gonna see if I can lower it a little. Yeah, it's so glittery. But I want you guys to be able to see it. I don't want you to lose anything. I got like 2 different lights here. I got my fluorescent and I have another one to sort of balance off the light. But there's definitely a glare, like the glint from the thing. Like I said, I like the glitter and I don't like the glitter. It's kind of nice. The flow on these are nice. I like that. It's good flow. And so he's pretty strong. I can say that, you know, there is a rule that I have with robots and in the universes that I work with. My rule is that I've never been a huge fan of, for myself, drawing robots with guns. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like a robot with a handgun, it just doesn't. In my universe, I think more in the terms of how Iron Man's armor is, or like Machine Man, where all your weaponry is incorporated. One of the coolest things I loved with Machine Man was when he had he had like a 357 Magnum, which was kind of crazy because it was like, yeah, he had a 357 Magnum in one of his fingers. And I remember even in the new, they did that limited series where he's in the future where they introduced Arnold Stark. And I remember they made a big thing about it. I'm sitting there going, 357 Magnum? Like, what kind of bullets? These are the bullets, explosive bullets, you know, or something. And then I was like, does he manufacture his own bullets in his body? Which would be kind of cool. See, that's what my mind thinks of. I think that if you had a being who had weaponry incorporated in their body, then that makes a much more efficient being. Because the thing about it is, if they're fighting somebody, the person wouldn't know what's going to come their way. So almost like the scene in Iron Man 1 in the MCU where he flies in and he goes in, you know, that town or whatever, you know, and he fires, like he has those missiles that are in his neck, you know, in his his traps, and stuff, and he fires those and he stuns those dudes or whatever, and then you know, he just has things that come off of his body. That makes sense to me. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I enjoyed that. that enhanced so much for me. It was like, yep, see how much cooler that is. All right, I guess this is like a silver that I'm gonna be using here. So he's gonna look very kind of folk-archy. Folk-archy, and another Frankie B word made up. Now see, here's something interesting. Look at this kind of silver. I guess it does have glitter. First I didn't think it had glitter, but now I'm sort of seeing the glitter right now. But it's coming out pretty good. Makes that nice metallic. So yeah, he has weaponry throughout his body and stuff, and then he's constantly upgrading. Another thing I have is that I'm a huge fan. I'll just say this as a little nod. I'm a huge fan of the Centaurians, and I'm a huge fan of the Inhumanoids. So I'll just give that little tidbit. I think the hardest thing for any creator out there is not to talk about what they're doing, because this whole point is that you want people to actually, purchase your book, and then you want them to read it, and you don't want to ruin the surprise for them. You want to be like, okay, I want you to learn about this character. So sometimes I have to be very wary on that. I've done jobs on gigs where I had to do NDAs and all kind of fun contracts and stuff where I couldn't say anything. I think there was one time I did get a boo-boo. I got a little slap for doing something, for posting something, which I shouldn't have posted. I took it because I shouldn't have. I took a chance. I took a gamble and I posted it. You know how I enjoy posting stuff. Yeah, got called to the office on a gig. Yeah, hey, you learn, man. I did it, and I fessed up to it. I said, yeah, you're right, sure did. But it was a learning lesson. I didn't do that stuff again. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to beat it over my head. I get it. It's always so tough because I try to express to people. I'm going, well, the only way that an artist is able to survive is by posting their work. I mean, if I can't show what I do, then that defeats the point, right? It's like I need to be able to showcase my skills so that other people can see and be like, well, maybe I want to get this artist on my project. So there's that fine line. There's that fine line where you want to be able to showcase your work, but then you want to respect the client that you work with, so that you don't want to ruffle any feathers or stuff like that if they have a sort of plan laid out for their release. So you don't want to do that. And I'm digging this. I'm actually liking this metallic. It's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like a high, man. Because it's like everything's been moving like 300 miles per hour. I can't even tell you. Since the fact of the book getting picked up, it's just, yeah. I think that really the nervousness is going to come when it's officially like in the previous magazine. When it's officially in it, then it's going to be like, okay, now it's game time. It's still unreal until I can actually see it, where it's like, boom, this is happening. This is happening for real. Okay. Hope you guys are digging that. How's that look? Hope you like it. Doing pretty good. I'm actually having a fun time with this. I hope you're having a great time too. All right, so his hair. Oh, this is gonna be tricky. So I think what I'm gonna do is his dreadlocks. Now, as you guys can surmise that the reason why he has dreadlocks is because the artist that is illustrating him has beautiful dreadlocks. I love dreads. I think for me, and actually a little story here. Funny thing about it is that I actually, my hair can only grow dreads. I used to dream of having a fat afro, man. I'm like, soul man, afro man. That's what I was down with. But my hair can never grow. It would just grow to like how can I say what hairstyle? Just a low fro, and it just, yeah, I didn't dig that. I didn't like that one bit. So what happened was, God, I forgot when I did it. It had to be like in the 90s, because I've had my dreads. This is probably the second iteration of my dreadlocks where I've kept them. Because the first iteration I had them, I did not take care of my dreads properly, and just a lot of stuff was going on in my life at the time, and I just there was a lot of stuff, and literally they were just coming out. So eventually I just got so tired of them. I went the route and I just cut them off. So this is the second iteration of my dreads, and these are the ones. I think these are the ones where this is it. These are here, because I take amazing care of them now. But when I first got my dreads, and that was back in I want to say the 90s, late 90s. I actually went to this salon in Jamaica Plain. That's right. I actually grew up in Jamaica Plain, in Boston, and it was these women. I think they were from Ghana, and they were doing dreadlocks, and it was just the weirdest thing because I was the only dude in the thing, and these women were talking and whatever, and I just remember just like the lady she did my hair and twisted it and stuff, and then she put my head, like she twisted it with beeswax, and I had these little nibs, like nibs hair. I've seen some people with the nibs. I like those too. I like the nib look. It was really short nibs, and or puffs. I don't know what they call them. I just call them nibs. And so she put my head underneath one of those dryers, and then it was just me just sort of listening to the noise of the dryer while staring out while these women are just like all, just talking their business. And then I left. And then from that point, I was like, oh, I can just take care of this. I'm not gonna be spending. I think at the time it's like $40. I'm gonna be spending. I was always, I grew up in a time where when I used to go to the barbershop, it was like, it wasn't that much. It was like, barbershop was a huge thing. It was like, you kind of would go there, you get your, but there was a lot that went along with it. You know what I mean? If you've seen the movie Barbershop, that's a little bit of what the whole thing is. It's almost an event sometimes. But, so I was like, I can't be spending $40 all the time to go and get the touch-ups and whatever. So what happened was, I just decided to do it myself. Read up, did some research, and a little bit of research. I wouldn't say a lot of research, but a little bit. And I just maintained them that way, But even then, when I look back, it wasn't really maintaining. They grew and then they broke off and they whatever. And then I was, So when I met Jess, and that was probably like in 2013, the fall of 2013, and we were dating and stuff, then it was, I by that time I'd already cut them off, and my hair and stuff like that was really short, and I just said, screw it. I was so happy when I had my dreads. And surprisingly, a lot of people who I knew were very happy when I had my dreads too. It's so funny how people are. They start letting you know all the stuff after the fact. They're like, yeah, dude, you looked a lot better with them dreads. Because I've been one of those people where my hairstyle has gone. I have been bald. I've had a Mr. T with mohawk. I've had, God, I remember back in the day I used to bust, I never liked gold chains. I was always in a fat silver chains. So I'd have these fat silver, or white gold. Silver chains, and I had a shag, which was the shag was when you cut your hair low, and then you had like this little, not a shag, was it called a shag? It had like a puff on the back, and I remember getting it dyed and it turned out orange. Oh yeah, I went through so many hairs, but the mohawk was cool. I like my mohawk. So I went through various hair kind of styles and stuff, trying to discover myself. And the earrings too. Yeah, I was a big time in the earrings. I got some tattoos. All in discovery. Find out who I am. Who is Frankie B? And so, yeah, that was crazy, man. But, yeah, once I met Jess, then I was growing them. At that point, I was starting to grow them. So I was going through the process again. And after this time around, I'm going to take care of them. And I have. I said if I really want these, I can invest in them. And so I did. And now I haven't gone back to anyone to do them, but they've kind of taken a life of their own. Like I have one big massive one. I really dig that one. Feels like a freaking whip. I was watching when we were watching the X-Men movie with Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix one, and they had the dude with the dreadlocks and stuff, and I was like, oh shoot, what can this guy do? It was all right. I wish he could have. I was almost hoping that he would be more like Medusa, like he could do really cool things with his dreadlocks. That would have been kind of cool. I mean, he was whipping them around, but it wasn't really anything like really cool, kind of like super cool. Like, oh man, that dude just knocked that guy's head clean off with, or cut his head off with his dreads. You know. I think another thing too is that people will look at, hopefully when you get the issues of Kaijus and Cowboys, that my level of violence is it's similar to, if you like John Byrne, I'm like that. I like Two-Fisted Justice. I like that when you see action, it should relate. Like this character is fighting giant kaijus and stuff. And so I want it to be known that he's no joke. He's definitely no joke. But with that said, I'm not a big trust me, I've watched gory movies, man, and I don't mind it. But myself personally, when I was in the comic books, I wasn't in a lot of gory stuff. That was stuff that came later, and even still, I was kind of like, it really depends. I love Faust, Tim Vigil's stuff. When I saw it, I thought it was interesting. But would I want to be drawing books that are like what Faust is doing? No, it's just not in my nature. I tend to like stuff. Honestly, I want stuff that I would like to see kids get into. Which is so funny. When I say that, and it's almost like, so as a kid, you want to do just kid friendly. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm still confused by that. It confuses me to no end, because I sit there and I go, I was reading Conan the Barbarian when I was like a teen. So was that a kid book? I don't know. Heavy metal and stuff. I think I still got the heavy metal with Baphomet or whatever on the cover, man, or Satan. It's crazy. I was a kid reading. What was that, kid? I don't know. I just think that people put comic books out and they didn't worry. I think that, sure, there was certain limits, but it wasn't like a huge thing as it is today. Like, people, they label every single thing. They want to put everything in the label, which is, I don't know. It's perplexing. This is kind of fun. This is kind of nice, huh? Look at that. I think I'm gonna add some highlights. See if I can add some highlights. See, this is the thing. Do I want to put highlights, or because I want these eyes to kind of pop out. So let's see. Let's go around it. How's that? How's that? That looks good? All right. Let's see. Well, a good thing about it is I like to kind of blend stuff in there. So these are holding up pretty good. Wow. I'm impressed. Like I said, years ago, I tried this, doing the, working on black paper and stuff. So it was really an interesting thing for me. You always, I always try to experiment. Trying to see if I could come up with stuff. I hate that fact of just like, when people get stuck in the whole thing and they go, this is all I'm going to be working with and stuff. I'm like, you're an artist, man. Why are you purposely limiting yourself? All right. Wow, that's pretty cool. Very therapeutic. Artwork is always like that. So let's see. Well, a lot of interesting kaijus. I will say, I will give a little bit of tidbit on Kaijus and Cowboys. Something that me and Matthew have been talking about. We can I'll say this. Kaijus and it's so funny because I've heard a few people talk about, and they'll immediately say Cowboys and Kaijus. So it's already, the name is sort of like it has to catch on. It has to roll off your tongue. And I love that. That's just awesome. What was I gonna say? Oh God, I'm losing my thought. Yeah, my thoughts come back. he Kaijus Cowboys is the is connected somewhat to the universe that me and Matthew started, and it came out on a Wednesday. The team KS1 stories that we did. I think there was 2 stories that we did, or 1. I don't know if Pete's gonna release them. I don't know, but they definitely have someone. There's something. There's something there. You know, I don't want to give too much away. Also, you know, the thing about it is Matthew's. You know, I feel like he has the toughest job. You know, I've tried to do writing as well as trying to, you know, draw my art, because you always get that, hey, why don't you ever do your work? And I'm like, dude, I did. I did, and it sucked. You know, it wasn't bad, but for me, the tough part is that because I'm a commercial illustrator, you know, and the thing about it is, being a commercial illustrator, I make my living drawing. So you take that aspect, and you know, I posted some of the projects I work on. I work on some really cool stuff. So I'm putting my energies toward that cool stuff, and it's like, man, yeah, it's really cool, amazing, and that's all good, right? Now, what energies do I have for my own stuff? Because by that time, I'm just like, I got nothing. I got nothing for my own stuff. You know, I'm just like, I just did a commission, or I worked on a project where I did robots and stuff like that, or whatever, and pretty much I'm just like, I'm good. You know. So if I'm trying to do my own, create own thing, and it happens to be anything that's like, you know, close to a project that I just finished working with for a client, it's not easy. It's tough. It just gets harder. You know. Plus the big one, the big thing is, I'm not getting paid for it. You know, there's no way I'm making money doing it, you know. So kind of, for me, as somebody, what I'm doing, it becomes almost like it's just a hobby. So that's why many times I don't really do my own stuff. The only way that I would probably do myself is somehow I became independently wealthy, pretty much. And then I can just be like, okay, I can shut down everything, and every single day I can just wake up and not have to worry about bills, not have to worry about rent and all that stuff, and just be like, okay, just gonna just get up and draw. And I would love for that to happen. You know, that would be amazing. It'd be an amazing thing. But like I said, I'm a realist and stuff. And so the thing is that, you know, I'm here with my wife, and she works really hard. By the way, Jess is I'm so proud of her. She's a transcriptionist, professional transcriptionist, and boy, she is in demand, man. Companies are constantly like sending things to her, trying to get her to do work for them and stuff, because it's big. You know, I never knew transcription was as big as until she started getting into it. And she's just like, yeah, you know, she's telling me how she's listening to all kind of stuff, man. A lot of NDAs. She has to sign NDAs and stuff like that. But boy, it's man. So kudos to her. She made a good decision in choosing and she's good at it. I mean, that's another thing too, when you're good at something. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons why, you know, I chose to want to work with someone like Matthew, who is, you know, we did some worked on the project of The Secret Lives of Supervillains as a web series, and it was pretty cool. A lot of people liked it, and I don't know if it's still. I think it's still up. I think it's at tapa.com and stuff like that. If you want to check it out, but you know, but the thing about it is, I always remember what one of my mentors said too, and he said, Frank, he said sometimes, you know, you don't have to like kill yourself, like, you know, people get like, oh, I can do everything and stuff like that, and no, you don't. You know, he was like, you just push a button and someone pops up, you know, and they can help you. You learn how to sort of space out the task, so you're not inundating yourself with too much stuff. And that's the place where I'm at right now. I'm at that weird Like I turned 51 and I'm just like, okay, I'm in a Zen place where I want to be able to work out. Had a great workout this morning, by the way. Oh man, we did upper body. So been doing a lot of time on attention lifting. And pretty much that's just like, lifting weights really slow. And your muscles are like screaming, like, oh my God. So doing stuff like that. But yeah, we had a great, like an hour of just upper body workout, back, chest, biceps, tries, all that good stuff. So that was really good. So that's where my head is. My head is at, trying to get some stability and balance to my life. And then, finding, and doing a comic book series. And so having Matthew along to sort of deal with the story, which again, I say that's the heavy lifting. I have a lot of respect for writers who are capable of coming up with these stories and stuff like that, and who are able to drive, because I feel like they are laying down the blueprint to help drive this thing. Like I really don't know all the story that's going on with Kaijus and Cowboys. No, I really don't. Which I kind of like that. Matthew, and I think I think what happens is he's doing a story. This is my hypothesis. He's doing a story, and he is, once he does a story, and then he sees, and then I do the, I don't even know what this is. I just grab this color. I'm almost wishing that I did this at the lighter one, but whatever, and use it. I send my thumbnails, and he looks at thumbnails. He goes, okay, Frank, that's cool. And then I do the drawing, and then until he actually sees the finished page, then all of a sudden he goes, oh man, I got some new thoughts. And I think that's what he's doing. It's almost like the Stan Lee moments. I think when Stan Lee was sort of work on something plotted out, he would then, like Jack Kirby or whoever would be working, and then he would get the pages, and all of a sudden he'd be like, oh shoot, like look what this dude did. And then he'd be like, okay, let me see if I can, sort of structure my the dialogue or whatever to go along with that. I will say that Matthew's really like, he's putting some action in. He's putting some really action and some beautiful scenes too. It's not just action, because it's funny. I'm reading. I just got the volumes of Alpha Flight, which I love. I remember collecting Alpha shortly, and then for some other reason I just fell out of it, and so I decided just to go ahead and get the volumes. Years ago I was collecting, and then for whatever reason I fell out of it and stuff, and life just got in the way. So now it's like I pull the trigger and then getting the volumes, and so I'm reading them now, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's you read it, and John Byrne really laid out a pretty good story. What was really cool was more of the human stuff. I mean, I don't know if he was influenced by what Chris Claremont was doing, or whether he was talking to Chris Claremont, but it was very human. And he would draw stuff out. That's what made it even more amazing. It wasn't just like superheroes going in and gang busting and poses and stuff like that. It was none of that. It was just like straight out, like very soap opera-ish, which I love. I was like, oh man, Okay. Wow, man, I'm very happy by this, by the way. Okay, let's see. I think I'm gonna add a highlight in here. Let's see. That's cool. You can actually add onto it. So that's pretty cool, huh? I don't want to mess it up. Oh man. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I think I'm gonna add some highlights to the dreads. See if I can do it. All right, cool. Get a little. This was a new one, a new gel pen that I had to crack open. This one's a nice one too. Took a swing to see if this would work, and just little dabs here and there. Yeah, so the idea of him with the dreadlocks and stuff. Well, if you got the zero issue, the zero issue kind of shows a scene where he, these are like they have offensive as well as defensive capabilities. I would say that. So, and again, I have a lot of plans on how I see the way I see this, the use of his dreadlocks and stuff like that. I mean, his whole body is a tool to be used as he's fit. Because again, it's like in my head, I'm like, if there was something that was combating against giant creatures and stuff like that, it would have to have capabilities that would allow it to, be able to fight these beings. Especially since he's not like a giant. Even if he was a giant, I would have things incorporated to the body. I'm so happy that Pacific Rim, they kind of did that as well. Like they weren't running around with giant guns in their hands and stuff. Yeah, that everything was kind of incorporated in them. That was great. I love that. It does look like almost like folk art kind of. I just do little dabs and stuff. I don't want to overpower it, Look at me talking like those artists. I just don't want to, smother the art. Oh, God. No! And I've never had that kind of... I guess for me, I had that kind of like the feeling like, yeah, go ahead, draw. Like one of my teachers, one of my assignments was we had to go into the public gardens, and she's like, pick up a twig. And come back to class, and this was in our school, and come back to class and get your inkwell and draw something with a twig that we found. And when I look back at it, I'm like, that was the coolest thing ever, man. She was teaching us a lot of stuff, And when you're in it, when you're in your 20s, when you're in it, you can't process it, I think, sometimes. But when you get older, you begin to see some of the method of the madness, And it was cool. I have a sort of zen. I've done a little bit of teaching off and on. I don't have a degree or anything like that, but I've been brought in to teach more. I always consider it more motivational kind of. If I was gonna be for real serious about it, it was more motivational. But they would bring me in to sort of talk to kids and inspire them and stuff like that, and that was cool. And so, they what do we got here? I don't know what this is. This is pretty dark. So I would get brought in to teach and stuff, and usually I would just be like, hey, draw. It's so funny when I see people, they sort of struggling. I'm just like, you gotta pick it up and draw. That's the first step on anything. I don't know how else you can tell somebody anything. They're gonna have to get out there and actually do it, But I think what happens is there's a lot of people out there comparing themselves to what others are doing. They'll pick and choose whatever artist who they like, and then they'll look at what that artist is doing, and then they'll be like, oh my God, I can't do that. Or they're trying so hard, and I'm like, no, I've never had that. That's a strange thing for me, because I've always, when I've drawing was a very, I don't want to say it was emotional, but it was something that, as I remember as a child, it really relaxed me, and I had fun with it. I just had fun with it. I didn't overly think about it. I think that's why, as being a pro artist and working as long as I have, and just still being able to smile through it, I attribute that to my childhood and my approach to it. I never looked at it as something like, oh man, I gotta, oh man, serious, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I've never had that. And I'm glad I didn't. I think even my teachers sort of saw that too. I just was like, well, if it happens, it happens kind of mentality. Happens, it happens. I'm not gonna lose my mind because something didn't happen or whatever. I always kind of had a go-lucky approach to it. It is what it is, I may add some of that highlight in there. All right, so it's pretty cool, man. B.W.N.N. You know me too. Usually I don't even do like doing a head and shoulder shot. But for this one, I'm gonna do head and shoulders. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if I can get some of this nice fluorescent. Now this is the ones who, at first I didn't know that, I just learned today that they actually do have a name, and they're called Promar, if you guys can see that, Promar FX, Gel FX. So I'm gonna see if I can do a search for these, because I've used these a lot over the years, and they're not as glittery as these. I mean, like I said, I like these. You know what? I'm gonna do a little test on this side down here. I like these, but these are really glittery. Oh, come on. This is the problem with these though, because there's no their flow, and I mean, I haven't used a lot of these, so their flow is really, it's just a nightmare. That's not gonna work. All right, I'm gonna pull back on that. I thought I could try to get the glow in there, but it's not working for me. You know, you don't get frustrated. You just, okay, what else can I use? So I'm using everything I have in here. I'm putting out every color in here like a madman. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see how this looks. Okay, that's light. All right, let's try this. What I will say, what I'm liking about these gel pens is that they're I can actually sort of color right on. There you go. Get that flow coming out. Looks like I can kind of almost paint right on them, or draw right on them, which is kind of good. One thing when I used to do a lot of oil painting, not oil. No. Let me rephrase that. I think I tried oils once, and then also acrylics once, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy what I did. And then I just was like, I'm not doing that again. I love watercolor, and I always felt like my watercolors are similar. Like my painting technique is especially using gouache, is similar to like how Alex Ross is. I consider myself heavy-handed. I'm not, you know, when people talk about watercolor, they'll have an almost muted kind of style to it. What I call the ethereal kind of style, where it's just almost wisp. Like you're not, the color is on the verge of almost translucent, maybe sometimes. But me, I'm more heavy-handed, where I really saturate the paper with the gouache or the paint and stuff. So it's really like, you can really see the image. It'd be like this, like me just, you know, whereas if somebody was going with the more ethereal effect, you know, you'd probably pencil him out, and then you just throw some nice washes in there and stuff. And then those are cool too. Like I like that too. I just find like I always struggle doing that, because my mind it will look at it and feel like it's not complete. And I think that's always the sort of thing that I've struggled with, is looking at stuff and feeling the need to be like, okay, it's done, Frank. You got to let it go. It's done. I remember my teacher used to get me on that too. He was like, you got to learn to bless it. Let it go. Well, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I like that. I'm digging this. All right, what's this one? I see this one's a little darker, so I don't even know what that is. That just looks black. All right. Maybe I'll hit this with a little bit of blue. See if I can hit some blue in there. Well, actually, here, there's some light blue here. I know you guys I'm just pulling stuff out right here. Hope you're still with me. I'm gonna adjust the light a little bit so you guys can see some more stuff. Cool. All right, let me see. I'm gonna see if I can add some. Let me first test it down here at the bottom of the paper. Get it flowing first. You know what I mean? All right, I got a little flow going. Just gonna see how that looks. Really light. I'm just gonna add a little taps of it into the cable dreadlocks. Yeah, when I first was designing him, which is so weird, it was like my first thoughts with B.W.N.N. was, I was like, okay, I like Clint Eastwood, all right? You know, the man with no name. But then I said, I love Jet Jaguar. And then I was like, I love Jet Jaguar. I like Mechagodzilla, the Showa era. And I loved how the faces were. So that's what really set me out on my path with the design of this character. You know, I just was like, I like their look and the aesthetic. And then it was, you know, I started thinking about the hair, and I said, well, I got dreadlocks. You know, and how it would be kind of cool. You got these dreads kind of flowing. So theoretically, my thought is that if we saw this live action, I would probably say like the dreadlocks actually moving. Yeah, almost like Doc Ock's what you call it, his arms. Yeah, they're just constantly kind of like moving a little bit, a little adjusting. Like clearly there's some wind, but you know, there's almost a movement to them, you know. So even as he's talking to you, they would be kind of just moving around, writhing around a little bit, almost like a little Medusa kind of thing going on. I think that's what I would probably say, that you would see that. That'd be kind of cool. I wanted to add a little bit green, but it's not letting me. It's just like, I think I've reached a point of saturation with this. Wow, man, that's pretty cool. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm really liking this. This came up pretty cool. I don't know what else to really add in here. Maybe I'll see if I can throw some little background in there. See what else we got. Now the trick part is doing the alien world. I've been sort of trying to pull out all kind of different colors and stuff like that. So I'll just try to sort of vegetation and things like that. So this is just me just adding in all kind of different stuff. I think it's important that you put in backgrounds, you know. I'm not a big fan of like floating heads and static art when it comes to that. That's just my own preference. See, this is where the downside with these are. And I've had these things for a long time. For some reason, this thing isn't working. And it has a full ink thing in it, but I'm like digging into the paper now, and I don't want to end up the next one. Let's see how this one is. It can be a struggle with these. Yeah, look at this. The paper. I've literally dug into the paper too much. That's frustrating. All right, let me see if I can find something else. One of these glitter ones. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I always just tell any artist out there that I'm like, you should definitely try to add a little bit in there, you know, so there's just not just sitting out there and there's nothing, you know. It's just important. Yeah, see, these are flowing really good. I love these other ones too, because they do. I mean, they have their moments, but you know how it is. You just don't want to let go. You're just like, I've had you so long. Look at that. Let me just look out. Let me just make sure it hasn't damaged the gone through. Yeah, see, it's pretty thick paper. That's a good thing, but I've definitely dug through a little bit, and that's always, I don't like that. So anyway, I'm just trying to put some alien vegetation up in here and stuff, and give a sense that you know, it's a headshot and there's some background. You know, I just think it's important. Yeah, I think it's always important that you kind of establish a some level of environment. You know, and if you look at a lot of for Zeta's stuff, I mean, he would do stuff where it was open scene kind of illustrations. But boy, man, he'll put just a little bit of some background in there, man, and you're just like, oh shoot, you know, it's just like boom. He's laying the law down, man. He's laying it down. I love these kind of different blues and stuff, and it's giving me a chance to test these too. So that's why I'm just sort of adding all this different stuff in here and knowing the colors. I just want to say, I just like to thank you for hanging out too. You know, a lot of new fans and stuff, and people digging the work, and I appreciate that. I really do. I don't take any of it lightly. I mean, my posting is kind of cathartic for me, you know, because I think sometimes even I need to pinch myself and look at some of the pieces of artwork that I've done over the years, the projects I've worked on. You know, I've truly been fortunate, you know, that for whatever reason, you know, I've been at a certain place in time where I was able to jump on some really cool things. You know, I don't have any complaints. Like sometimes I'll hear people who've been in the industry or whatever, and is complaining and stuff. And I look at, I don't know their total story, but I can only say my story. And my story was, I don't have any complaints about it, with the good and the bad. Whatever those moments where, and they were, if there were moments where things felt like, oh, they were just moments. You know, I never allowed that to somehow contaminate my whole viewpoint on the industry, on the entire sense of the art industry. The art industry is an amazing thing. If you can make it in the art industry, then it is a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I'm happy for any and all artists out there that are capable of making it and doing it. Okay. So I'm just creating a weird alien plan, okay? These are the moments that I cherish. I feel like I'm a child again. So if you guys hear me, well, you can't see me, but I got a big smile on my face. This is because one of the things about it was when I was a kid, there was no limits, you know, there was no rules. You just drew stuff, man. And I think sometimes we get so caught up with all the rules and stuff. This is how it's supposed to be. This is such and such. And you see people and they're just struggling, trying to fit that perfection. And it's like, dude, you know, is it perfection? You know, or is it just someone trying to, you know, to snuff out your voice, you know? You know, you got to be careful with that. I mean, I like the fact that I don't mind people, you know, if they're going to offer some advice or whatever, but there's a fine line with that. I think sometimes people can, I try not to give too much suggestions or whatever to people, because I think that the key thing, like when I went through my journey, the people who that I dealt with, they allowed me to make my own mistakes. Let me just put it that way. You know, I was able to make my mistakes. I was able to learn from it, because I think as a human being, it's important that we do. All right, here, see, the orange is working somewhat good. Let me throw a little orange in there. No, I'm gonna. So, let's see. All right, I think I'm gonna create like I should probably get out my, I think I've gone through every one of these here. I think I have I got my small circle template. So I'm gonna put like a little planet, because this is an alien world. He's on an alien, it's like an alien world that B.W.N.N is on. So let's do this. Grab the old trusty circle template, lay it out, got my circle, and then I'm gonna do, I think it was a blue world, but anyway, that's in it, so I'm gonna put that in there too, just a little. All right, so put that in there, and all right, let's have some fun. Let's see. So yeah, I think it is important. I think it's important for people to, you know, it's almost like when I was small, man, as a kid, and I remember the first time getting on a bike, and boy, I had a lot of falls, man. I got scrapes and everything, but you know what? Each one of those scrapes I learned until eventually I could ride that bike. I could ride a bike. I had to go through the falls. I had to go through these things, you know? And so, you know, sometimes we all got to go through it. You know, it's the journey's about learning, you know. Do you truly need somebody to be sort of holding your hand through the whole process? I don't think so. I would never suggest anybody should hold anyone's hand through anything, you know. I think that as human beings, our greatest strength is that, you know, you gotta be, you know, open to learning stuff, so that you can learn about your, making those mistakes and learn more about yourself. So that's just my little thought on that whole matter. All right, and this is actually pretty cool, man. I'm definitely gonna do more stuff like this. This is one of those days where I really didn't have too much thought about it. I just was like, I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna crank this open and just go to the house and see what happens. It's always fun. This is where art is. Just the basics of art. The basis of art, excuse me, is where it's just fun. You're just drawing and there's no care in the world. You're just doing your thing, man. Chilling out, listening to jams, and and just creating art. It's pretty crazy, huh? Right, I'm gonna see if I can get some a little bit of stuff in here. See what happens. Oh, okay. All right, I see you. I think I'll try to put a little corona around that. Just see if I can. I'm trying to blend it in there. It's fighting me. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, you crazy. Put a little bit of light in there. I love it. So just a little, put a little edge on that too. So you can see there's 2 planets. It's always important. And I'm gonna. I love putting in star scenes, like the old school star scenes. That you're gonna be seeing a lot of that. I can promise that the color scheme for Kaijus and Cowboys is definitely more akin to the 70s and 80s style. I love it. I think it's perfect for my artwork. I've had some other people color my artwork over the years, and some of the stuff it came up pretty cool. Some stuff, it is what it is. But other stuff came up really good. But with that said, when me and Matt was talking and stuff like that, I just feel like I want it to have at least 100% of me in this, and my viewpoint on my art and stuff like that. And the thing about this book is Kaijus and Cowboys is an homage to the kind of stories and that I grew up with and that I loved, and so that's I wanted to do that. So that's the color scheme and stuff like that. The feeling of it is going to be that of like, something that you've seen from the 80s or the 70s. Yeah. Definitely a lot of effects. That's the effect words like pow, boom, crash. Yeah, I love that stuff. And all we can do is just wait and see how people take to it. But at least depending, even if they don't like it or not, at least I can say with a straight face that it's me. That and Matthew can do the same thing. You'd be like, yeah, this is all me. We put it out, and there you go. And that's all that creators can do, especially when you're totally behind your work. You're not, you're not letting your work be contaminated by what somebody else's vision is and stuff like that. I know I love a lot of colors. I do. I'm a huge I love lots and lots of colors. Starry scenes of just, distant worlds and okay. I gotta make sure I'm not getting in this on my hand. It dries pretty quickly, I gotta admit. Oh, let's see. See if I can paint a little bit in. Yeah, it dries pretty quickly, and I like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, this glare on it though. Again, like I said, I got my lights on it, so it's really difficult for me to kind of see where things are being laid. So I'm kind of, just balling this out, man. praying that it all works together. It's okay. Okay, and then to bring it all home, we're gonna go to Try and True if I can find it. My Signo Uni-Ball Signo white gel pen. You guys can see that all there. All right. Let me see if I can add some highlights in there. That helps. I do love when you get these gel pens and it's just like, something just brand new, Just dot, little dot matrixy, little stippling. Back in the day, we just stippling. Oh man, I wish I had some of my original assignments from art school. I remember, man, I did this table. I remember having to do a table and it was cross-hatching and stippling. And yeah, it was done on what is it? It was like thick Bristol board, like really thick. Like you would have to use a mat knife to cut it, that kind of thing. Yeah, it wasn't Bristol board. It wasn't Bristol paper. It was Bristol board. And I remember, yeah, that was crazy. Too many dabbles there. Now you get that nice sunburst kind of coming off the planet. A little bit of dot matrixing on it. All right. I think we're there. Oh my God! I think I'm at 1 hour and 17 minutes. All right. I'm happy. I'm happy how this looks. Very happy. All right. I think this is gonna be a wrap. I think this is a wrap. Let me just stand up a little bit, see how it looks. Looking down, you guys can see it. See if I can move it over a little bit. So there you go. Let's see. I guess I should probably sign it. All right. Make sure it's nice and Frankie B. B. Washington. 21. And then what I'll do is over here on this side, I'll do a nice little. This is that's how you know it's a Frankie B. I tend to do that. And then I play around sometimes with the, so I'll do this round near the bottom. So that's a Frankie B original. Nice. So I play with the F a little bit. So there you go. See if I can I'll cut off some lights. I don't know if let's see. I don't know if this. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see it. Somewhat fluorescent a little bit. Cut that back on, a low light. All right, well, hey, I just want to thank you so much for hanging out with me, and yeah, getting to do some artwork on black paper. So anyway, this was the B.W.N.N. Art drawer. Kaijus and Cowboys. Definitely 2022 is going to be the year, I believe, for me and Matthew. So all right, as always, keep that art flowing.